Hi guys, it's Uga and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be reviewing the last volume for Darker Shade of Magic series, A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. This trilogy, let me say, it's very good. I really enjoy it. I enjoy a lot the first one. The second one, as I told you in my review, I was expecting a little bit more, and this one, well, it's a hell of a ride. I cannot say a lot about this book, especially on the plot, because it will spoiler the whole series, but let me say you this. This last book, well, it ties all the knots that we have, although some are open because V. Schwab is writing a new trilogy set like 30 years after, and there is a comics about Reese and Cal's father and mother on the past. So you have a setting on the world, but in these main characters, this is locked. The story finished for them. Everything has its end and has its conclusion. This book is much more a ride, you know. The end of the second book ends with a cliffhanger, a very open what the hell is going to happen from now. And in the beginning of this book, it's a full-packed action sequence, like 200, 300 pages, like full action and everyone is trying to resolve things, everyone is trying to help, everyone is trying to achieve something. It's very vast and very, whoa, what is happening here, because what's going to happen now? Then you reach a point where, okay, we have a mission and you have to do that mission, and that part between going to the mission, arrive for the mission, and the final fight and the final conclusion, it's a little bit more slow, you know. And I think one of the problems, although I like multiple POVs, in this book, I think they have too much. We have the main characters, but then we have a lot of side characters that were presented as POVs, shorter or longer, and then we have a lot of jumps specifically on places. You know, we are in the sea, and then we are in London again, and then we are in the other London, and then we are back into our London, but in a different setting. It's confusing, and sometimes we're like, you are packed on that scene, and then okay, it broke that scene, okay, let's go back to another place. And that, I feel it was a little bit too much. I didn't enjoy as much. I like when you have multiple POVs. In some scenes, the multiple POVs is very good. It's you get scene form, for example, Lila's perspective, but then you go back to Cal, and then you go back to Olin, and then you go back to Alucard, and you go switching, for example, in a fighting scene, and that's really interesting because you see the different perspectives and the different what they are fighting in that scene, and that is very good. I really enjoyed it, but sometimes it broke a little bit the pace of the book. I think the book is constructed in a very interesting way, but I think that middle, you know, when you break, you have a full action in the beginning, a lot of things happening, a lot of things to resolve, and then you're like, okay, now it's going to be a slow journey to find and to try to find the solution, and we're like, okay, hurry up, I want to see how it ends. I don't care by now by the journey has in the other two books. This now is for conclusions. It's to fight all the evil in the world and to murder someone and someone to get murdered and get hurt. I don't care about journeys anymore. And that happened. But I think the book is solid for the trilogy. I think it works very well together with the other two books. The first one could be easily a standalone. The second one, it's much more a connection between the first and the second, although it has some interesting aspects, and this one ties the knot of everything and even reveals some past of some characters. We get a little bit more depth into some of the main characters, or even on some of the secondary characters, and that's really interesting because even in the final book you can get a little bit of depth inside of the book, and we'll discover a little bit more of these journeys. One of the things that was interesting was Cal's past, because in the first book, since the beginning, we learned that Cal has a past and no one knows except the king and the queen, and although we get a little bit, but we don't get full because he doesn't want. And I was like, for me, that doesn't work. I want to know everything. This book, for me, it's much more about the first and the third part. The second part was the part that I was troubled to get through, although I like some of the aspects that we had, because on that part we get a little bit of the construction of the backstory of the characters that I talk about. It broke the scene. But yeah, overall the book is very good. I think the last scenes are like, oh my god, this is amazing, you know, everything goes to a certain place and goes to a perfect end, and I think I couldn't expect more of this. I think it's very well developed. It ended on a good note. It's totally a good read. I'm really excited to know how is the new trilogy of V. Schwab is going to be sometime on the future, and these characters, although are not the principal, they play a major role, and it's very interesting. I really want to spend more time in this world, because I think there are still some secrets and some points that I would love to know more. So yeah, if you are interested in reading this series, I totally recommend it. I think it's I don't know if it's a binge reading series that you just fast read everyone. I think it's a read that you will take your time, because you will experience the world, and maybe even break between the first, the second, and the third with another book, so you can relive again, you know, because I think the world is built in such a way that you can even break a little bit from it and you will come back in a very good way. A visual writing style, it's already on point. I think it's very well written. It's the writing, although it's captivating, you know, because even when you're changing of perspectives that I didn't like so much, I was captivated to know, and the way she described and the way she make the characters sound different between them, it was really well done. I totally recommend this series. As you can see, I have here the first and the second, and now the third. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys read this series. I love to see your opinions on this series, because it's totally amazing. These covers are just beautiful. Although I like the French covers that Bia showed me, those are really fun art. They are very good. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys read it. I post videos every Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So I see you guys on my next video. Bye.